everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Missy from Rambling Rose Farmhouse, and I'm glad to have you here with me today. Today I want to share with you a super easy pizza crust recipe. Now this pizza crust starts with a sourdough starter, and this is my starter. I'm going to leave a link for you below of the exact starter I have because it's a little bit different than a regular starter. A regular sourdough starter, you have to take out and feed it and leave it sitting on the counter for a certain amount of time, and then feed it again, just all kind of different things. This starter is a different type and it stays in the refrigerator all the time. You take it out of the refrigerator, you feed it, you stick it back in the refrigerator. You take it out of the refrigerator, you take some out to make whatever you want to make, you stick it back in the refrigerator. So it is proven to be a really, really easy starter to keep up with and to, just to keep it healthy and alive. So I really like it. Okay, like I said, this is really easy. It's not very many ingredients, and so I'm going to show you pretty quick here how to do it. So this is what the sourdough starter looks like. And I have this scoop that actually measures out a cup, and so that's what I usually use to get my starter out of my jar, but you can just dump your starter into a measuring cup if you have one of those. Okay, I'm making my pizza on a griddle, and this is an 11-inch griddle, so I'm using a cup of starter for this size pizza. I also make my pizzas on a pizza stone sometimes, which this one, of course, is bigger than that. So I would use 2 cups or maybe 2.5 cups of starter if I was doing this one, and then I would just adjust my other ingredients, along with how many cups I used. So what you will have to do is you will have to take the recipe I'm giving you and estimate how many cups you need for whatever size pizza you're making, and then make the adjustments with your oil and spices and things like that. I'm going to measure out a cup of my sourdough starter, and it's going to be a heaping cup. You can see that. Now, this is a sourdough discard recipe, so that means that I didn't feed this starter right before, I started to make this pizza crust. I don't ever discard. A lot of people, when they feed their starter, they discard. A lot of the starters, you're supposed to do that. But I try to always use whatever I would be discarding in a recipe because I just don't like to waste it. So this would be considered a sourdough discard recipe because I'm using what I would have taken out. So let's go on to the next step. And I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of basil. This is dried basil that we grew in our garden, and I dried it. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of basil. Now, I do want to say I don't always use basil. I have used just an Italian seasoning like this before. So you really can use any kind of herbs that you want to in the crust according to what flavor you like. My daughter uses rosemary because she likes to make a rosemary crust. But I have the basil, so I'm using basil. Like I said, sometimes I use just this Italian seasoning that's a mix of different things. I'm going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. And that is truly the only thing in it. So you can see it is really a simple thing to make. And start this up. Now, the next step that I need to do is I need to preheat my griddle. And my griddle already has some coconut oil on it. If you were wondering earlier what that was on there, I should have told you. I am going to preheat my griddle. I'm going to put it in the oven while the oven's preheating. And by the time the oven is ready, this will be preheated also. And that is a key part to getting a nice crispy crust on the bottom. So if you like your pizza crust to be crispy, you definitely want to preheat your griddle. I also preheat my pizza stones when I do it with them too. So I do it the same way. I put them into a cold oven, turn it on to preheat, and then I take them out when the oven's preheated and I go on to the next step. So let me go. Okay, my griddle is ready, and you can see the oil on it. It is super, super hot. I'm gonna go ahead and put my dough on here. And start spreading it around like this. Alright, so this is going back in the oven, and it will be in there probably between 10 and 15 minutes. I'll just have to check it and see. The thicker your crust is, the longer it'll need to bake right now, and the thinner it is, the shorter time you'll bake. Okay, this is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. And you can see, because I put that olive oil on the griddle, it comes right off. And it's also really crispy on the bottom. Here's the bottom so that you can see it. You can tell how nice and crispy it is. So what will happen next, this has been in there for about 15 minutes, like I said. Next, I'll build the toppings of my pizza, and then I'll put it back into the oven just until the cheese melts and the pizza's ready. So that the crust does cook a little bit more after this first cooking, but not a whole lot. But this really is, like I said, it's the simplest crust that you will ever make. Okay, that's it. There's really not much to making this crust. It's super easy, just a few ingredients. If you have a sourdough starter, it's something you can do really quick. If you don't have a sourdough starter and you've never done sourdough before, I hope this encourages you to get some and give it a try, because the crust really has an amazing flavor with the combination of the herbs and the sourdough. It adds a lot to your pizza. Now, if you like a real fluffy risen crust, you might not like this one because it's heavier, it's a denser crust, but it's really good and flavorful, so we like it a lot. And we like to do kind of a quick and easy homemade pizza. And like I said, you can put anything that you want on top of it, and you just put it back in the oven and cook it until your cheese is melted and like you want it to be, and take it out. Also, I don't think I told you, but I bake my crust at 425 degrees. So you might just need to experiment with that. You might need to do it a little hotter in your oven or a little cooler according to how your oven heats, and also according to what kind of pan that you're using to cook it on. So just give it a try. So if you like this video, I would ask you to give it a thumbs up. So if you've watched any of my other videos, and if you like them, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and help my channel grow. I really appreciate everybody who hits that subscribe button and who takes the time to watch my videos. I just want to tell you that I do appreciate you being here. So I hope that you will be back next week, because I put out a new video every week.